So the story is this. I quit social media. Well, kinda. At the least, you could say that I cured my crippling addiction from social media. Statistically speaking, since you're here watching this video, there's about a 100% chance you use social media. These come in all different sorts of shapes and sizes. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Twitter. Billions of people use social media apps on a daily basis. And sources differ, but from my own extensive research, I've calculated that, well, teenagers and young adults are the demographic to spend the most time on social media. 3 hours a day. That's how much the average person aged between 16 and 24 in developed countries spend on these apps. And we all know people that spend way more time than this scrolling through TikTok or watching YouTube videos in a day. I know for a fact that I myself have had periods of my life where I spent like double this amount on YouTube alone. And maybe to you, 3 hours doesn't even sound like that much. Like, it's just a few hours here and there. What is the harm with that? Well, listen up here. I got a question for y'all. What is the most valuable asset in life? Is it stocks, crypto, real estate? I think a lot of y'all would probably agree with me when I say that the most correct answer would be time. Time in the market beats time in the market. Want to get good at something? Well, spending time doing it is your best bet to succeed. Every major achievement is going to require a lot of time and effort. And time is the most common excuse for what's holding people back in life. I don't have the time to do it. I would if I had the time. If I could just dedicate a little bit more time, I'd be able to become successful. I wish I had more time in a day to do stuff. I mean, in between working, going to school, commuting, there ain't that much time left. Really, if I just had a few extra hours a week to work on my own shit, I'd get so far. 3 hours a day was the average time 16 to 24-year-olds spend on social media a day. 3 hours a day times 7 days. That's 21 hours a week. Well, 3 hours doesn't really sound like that much. If you add it all up, do you realize how much you could get done with an extra 21 hours a week? 21 hours a week? That's like 93 hours a month. That's like 1,095 hours a year. 1,000 hours equals out to like a month and a half. Imagine if you got an extra month and a half of free time a year. Imagine all the stuff you'd be able to get done. It adds up pretty quick. Those are life-changing amounts of time. Dedicate 1,000 hours to something, and you'll for sure see some pretty substantial changes. When you think about it like this, how could you possibly justify spending all of this time endlessly scrolling through TikTok or Instagram? If your excuse for what's holding you back in life is a lack of time, and yet you spend hours upon hours a day on social media, you ain't got a lack of time, bud. You just gotta change how you choose to spend and prioritize it. When I actually realized how much time I'd get back if I stopped using these apps, I was convinced. I had to do it. I had to erase my social. For this one, we're gonna have to go back a few months.
Today is the 4th of July, Sunday, and I will be deleting all of my social media apps today.
That's how it all started. The idea was to challenge myself to delete all of my social media apps for a week. So 1 week without using any of these apps whatsoever. The ones I had on my phone were Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And this week, well, believe it or not, but it was surprisingly easy. There weren't really that many times where I was craving that dopamine rush. In a way, I felt kind of free. I even spent a lot of time that I would otherwise have spent on social media, reading, working out a bit more, and at least doing activities that could be considered kind of worthwhile. So, since the first week went so well, I decided to keep it going. Another week off the grid. And to my surprise, still, it wasn't too hard. The thing about habits such as this one is we all feel like they're such big parts of our lives. Like, how could I possibly live without using Instagram? I've been on it for years. It's always so much fun. Like, how do people survive without using it? But believe it or not, there was a time before social media. I can even recall when I was younger. I didn't have any social media, but I was perfectly fine back then. Your parents probably had just as fulfilling and stimulating lives as you did growing up, even without these apps existing. We sometimes forget there's another way of living. When something truly becomes a part of our daily routine, it feels like we're missing out if we're not doing it. Honestly, what I learned during these first weeks is that it doesn't take too much to get used to new things. It felt like these apps were vital to my existence. But after deleting them, I barely even missed them. It didn't take a whole lot of adjusting. It didn't even take a lot of effort. Just one click, and that was it. After these first 2 weeks, I had really kind of forgotten about my digital life altogether. It's like when you do this, you realize what's actually important in your life. Family, friends, doing something with your time that actually fulfills you. I didn't need TikTok or Instagram for this. It would just slow me down. At this point, I truly felt like I had beat my addiction. Okay, let's look at a little bit of a different side of the story. I know a lot of what I've been talking about in this video has been about not using social media with the purpose of becoming more productive in life. And time for some honesty here. It's not like quitting social media is going to magically make you more productive. It is going to free up time in your day. But if you're not already someone that normally likes to grind or work hard, then I don't know how much this is really going to help you. You might honestly just start spending your time in other meaningless ways. You might even get kind of bored just because you have more time. Doesn't mean that you will start to use it more productively all of a sudden. Like, what do you need more time for? More time for sitting on the couch doing nothing? But if you are someone that is constantly working towards something, all of this time that you'll save can really make a huge impact. And the less distractions, the better. Not having to worry and check notifications all the time is going to free up mental space, which will most likely make you even more focused and efficient at what you're doing. So it's a win-win. I can honestly relate to both of these. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so in that sense, the mental clarity and the free up of time has been hugely beneficial. But obviously, I'm not perfect. Far from it. There were still times where I wouldn't be nearly as productive as I would have liked to. I even had times where I would straight up waste the extra time I had, going for long, unnecessary walks, listening to podcasts that go on for way too long, just sitting there doing nothing. But you can't be on your A game all of the time. The important thing is that when I'm on my grind, I'll have more time for it. And the time that I do have is being spent more efficiently. And one more thing. It's not like I made this video to shit on social media and tell you that life would be so much better if it didn't exist. Even if that's maybe what it seems like right now. It ain't like all aspects of social media are bad. If you use them in the right ways, they can be very beneficial. I would even go so far as to say that in this day and age, when so much of what we do and the information we consume is online, not being on social media at all would be a net negative. The thing is just, you gotta use it in moderation. Find that balance. Don't obsess over it. Use it when it's actually necessary. After these first 2 weeks, I realized that there's actually a way of getting the best of both worlds. And if I truly had beat my addiction, I would be able to use social media in very moderate amounts and get all of the benefits of using it while still getting all of the benefits of not using it. So what I did was, I decided to re-download some of the apps. Instagram. It can be great for seeing what your friends are up to, using it to communicate or even network with people. And not using it had the effect of me not really talking to any friends. Connecting with people is important, and if the easiest way for you to do that is through an app, fuck it, go for it. YouTube is great for learning and looking up stuff, and for just consuming great, entertaining content. I don't really play video games or watch TV or Netflix, so watching YouTube videos is really my one thing. Watching a few videos a day, mostly while eating or before going to bed, can't be that bad. As long as I don't get into that YouTube bender marathon, I'll be fine. And I think I have enough self-control by now to prevent this from happening. And then I re-downloaded Facebook and Messenger as well. I don't live anywhere near my family, so I use it to talk to them pretty much. And Marketplace is good for selling stuff and finding really good deals. So I gotta use that too. And when it comes to apps such as Snapchat and TikTok, well, I've completely stopped using these. I deleted Snapchat about a year or two ago, and to be honest, that was like the best decision of my life. And TikTok, after having it deleted for a few weeks, I realized that it was kind of a burden anyways. I'm not the biggest fan of the content, and it's just too easy to get sucked into the algorithm and waste hours on there. I actually used to make some videos for it, but I don't really enjoy it as much as making longer form content, so I just decided to not re-download the app at all. And now, it's been like 4 months, and I haven't looked back since. So now, what I got is Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for all the reasons from before. And occasionally, I'll get on Reddit, but not too often. What I would do now if I'd find myself endlessly scrolling or going into explore on Instagram is I would just turn the app off. I don't really measure how much time I spend on social media a day, but what I do know is that it is for sure a lot less than I used to. I'll go on to respond to some messages if I want to post something or if I want to look something up, maybe watch a quick video or two, but I no longer have that urge to always check for notifications or just scroll around out of boredom. In conclusion, I am a huge advocate for social media if you do it in an intentional way. There is a lot of goodies on there, but when it gets to that mindless scrolling and the habit of waking up to check Instagram for an hour, that's when I felt it started to become a problem for me. If you don't believe that a lot of the time you spend on social media is a waste of time, and you don't see a way you'd rather use it, then that's fine. What this video is about is simply my personal experience with using it, and how using it less has had a positive impact on my life. That's really it. Kinda. There's actually one area of social media where spending multiple hours a day on it could have a very positive ROI. And that is if you're using it as part of your business or side hustle. And let's be frank, if you're operating a business in 2021 without using social media as a way of building an audience, marketing, or networking, then you're missing out on a huge opportunity. But even in these cases, when you have social media as a big part of your business, it's not like you're on these platforms the same way your average consumer would be. There's a lot of back-end stuff going on behind the scenes. It's not like you're just sitting there on Instagram scrolling. Social media has provided us with endless opportunities to make money and hustle. But for everyone taking advantage of these opportunities, there are another 99 people that just use it for the reasons I've stated before. And if you are one of these people that spend multiple hours a day consuming content while yet wishing you had more time for other stuff, then yeah, try using less of it. Maybe do what I did. Delete all of the apps, then once you feel like you got your addiction under control, get back to it and use it very moderately with intention. Doing all of this has been great for me. All of the extra time is given me. 20 plus hours a week, 1,000 plus hours a year, all of the mental stress off of my shoulders, the increased focus and efficiency. Social media addiction is a real thing. And while I wouldn't exactly say that it's ever been a huge issue in my life, comparing how I'm living right now to before I decided to embark on this journey, well, I do feel a lot better in so many ways. Now, that's really it.